we had a question about problem 3. If there's any sort of direction I can provide about doing question 3, which was the garment company. And currently they're making everything by hand. And so it gives you it tells you what the wages of the workers are, and it tells you how much additional output or marginal product these workers have, 200 units per day. And so they are considering purchasing this machine that will increase output by 1,800 units. And so it says how much the firm produces in a day. Both the questions, A and B, are basically asking you whether it's a good idea to buy this machine. A gives you the price of the machine. B says that would the decision change if the wage goes up. And it looks like they're still trying to keep their production at 5,400 units, just to make things simple. So the way to think about this is there are 2 inputs that the company is considering using. So they have labor now. They don't have any capital at all now. And they're considering using this, buying this machine, buying this first unit of capital. So I think a lot of how you're going to think about this question is not necessarily these graphs, but think about this slide number 8, which talks about the optimal choice of using inputs. And I may have described it in the video as trying to get the best deal. So companies are trying to figure out the best deals in terms of the number of workers to hire, in terms of the number of machines to hire. We kind of use this same, we didn't talk about it, but there was probably chapter 4, I think we skipped our consumer behavior chapter 5, I guess. The basic idea when you're buying anything, whether you're a consumer buying a product or whether you're a company buying these inputs, everyone wants to get the best deal for things. And so when I'm shopping, I consider a good deal to be not just if I'm not spending a lot of money. I mean, if a price is low, I don't necessarily think that everything that is cheap is a good deal, because sticks of gum are cheap, candy bars are cheap, but they're not necessarily good deals. You have to spend less than $1 on those things, but it doesn't necessarily make them a good deal. The benefit that you get from something is important in figuring out whether something is a good deal. So if you get a lot of benefit from something, that doesn't necessarily mean it's a good deal, though, because a Ferrari would give me a lot of benefit, a Lamborghini would give me a lot of benefit, a yacht would give me a lot of benefit. I'd be very happy if I had any of those things. But I don't consider them good deals because they're so ridiculously expensive. So there has to be this kind of trade-off between getting a good benefit from something and the price that you're having to pay for it. So in the company's perspective, it's that same sort of thing, where the company wants to think about the benefit that it's receiving from hiring these workers. And so the benefit of having a worker or a machine is the amount of output that the worker or the machine can generate for you. So we want to think about the marginal products that these machines or these workers can produce for us. That's the benefit side of hiring someone. The cost side of hiring someone or buying a machine is what you have to pay for them. So if I'm hiring workers, I've got to pay this wage, W. If I'm buying the machine, I have to pay this rent price, R. And so again, I want to get the best deal that I can, meaning I want to get as much additional output per dollar that I'm spending on these things. The idea that's actually on this slide is that to get the optimum combination is you have to find these 2 fractions to be equal to each other. But I think just the concept of looking at hiring people or buying machines in terms of looking at their marginal product per dollar that you're spending on them is what's going to be helpful in this particular question. So I've got these workers and they're producing a certain amount of output, and I know what I have to pay them, and then I can also figure out the additional amount of output that this machine is going to give us and how much we have to pay for the machine. Well, we said that the company needs to make 5,400 units per day. It's only considering buying one machine, I think, by purchasing a textile machine. So a textile machine only produces 1,800. So you're going to have, your choice is going to be between having only workers produce the amount of output we need versus having one machine and some workers produce our output. So again, the question A is just asking you whether buying the machine is worthwhile. But again, kind of putting things in perspective here, you can think about it in terms, well, for part A and part B, you can ask yourself which is a good deal. Are the workers a good deal in this scenario? Is the machine a good deal in this scenario? And then you can go to part B and ask yourself the same sort of questions. Now that the wage has gone up, are the workers a good deal? Are the machines a good deal? Actually, you should say which one is a better deal. So in part A, are the workers a better deal than the machine? And in part B, are the workers a better deal than the machine? So that might that might help you kind of figure out how to tackle these questions. There's different ways you can kind of tackle it, but as I asked the question, as I sort of made the question in the assignment, I was sort of focusing on this slide number 8, discussion of things. So it looks like question 4, technical problem, on page 356 might be okay, because they're talking about labor and capital, and they have a wage rate and the price of capital. That might be kind of similar to the question that we're looking for here. And it would give you the answer. It wouldn't necessarily tell you how it got its answer.